What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Stand Your Ground. I'm your host, as always, Alex Benison. I am joined this week by one half of the Mighty Whites podcast, KC.
How are we doing, mate?
I am not too bad, not too bad. We've not left it 2 weeks this week, but we've still got a lot to talk about.
Yes, a lot of things have happened. No one trying to leave the league. No one trying to leave the league this time, but still plenty.
There's still time. Well, actually, to be honest, that probably works quite well. Nobody trying to leave the league. But there are two teams that are definitely leaving the league now after last weekend's results. As we might as well start with the game roundups, as always. We'll go back to Monday's game, and a newly relegated Fulham lost 2-0 to Burnley. Poor Scott Parker.
Well, you win 5 games in a season, you're probably going to get relegated. You know, they got themselves to a point around sort of the start of April where it looked like they might pull it off, and then their form's just taken an absolute nosedive since then, and they drifted further and further away each week. You know, it was a couple of good finishes from Burnley. Chris Wood's goal was very well, a very nice strike, but you'd also have to say in a game like that, Fulham created so little. You know, I think they hit the crossbar once, and that's about it.
That's been a thing of their season, though, is they've not created a lot up front. As much as people have said defensively, they've not been that great. Towards the back end of this season, they've looked a lot more solid at the back, minus a few errors from probably a lack of experience of the back four. But they've been defensively okay, just they've not been able to do anything up top.
No, I'm just trying to find the stats now, but I'm guessing they don't have anyone that scored more than 5. Oh, Bobby Duck over Reed's got 7.
Wait.
So he's got 7, Mitrovic 4, Lookman 4.
I'm surprised Mitrovic's is as high as 4.
Yeah, it's, you know, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has got 1. Cavaliero's 3. Josh Madger, who probably has the best goals to game ratio since he came in January, has got 3. But yeah, they really haven't done enough to destroy it. And it's the problem that kind of faced Sheffield United towards the back end of last season, was that they were a team that, whilst they were very well organised defensively, they weren't scoring enough. And, you know, again, their top scorer finished with 6 or 7. But if if you're not having someone put the ball in the back of the net, then you've got to be, you know, almost watertight defensively. And they just haven't been.
I'm sure we'll talk about this, about West Brom when we get onto their game as well. But looking at Fulham's side, how do you think they'll fare in the Championship going down a step if they manage to keep most of the squad?
Well, most of it's loanees at this point, so I can't imagine they're keeping most of them.
No, that is very true. I mean, they'll be one of the teams that I think will be throwing money at West Brom to try and get Sam Johnson at the end of the season, seeing as Areola will probably go back to PSG. I can't imagine him wanting to stay around in Fulham on a permanent deal.
No, although I would say for Sam Johnson, I think he'll have a few decent options this summer. I think there'll be a few Premier League teams will come knocking for him.
Yeah. So moving on to the Tuesday's games, we'll probably run through these midweek games quite quickly because, well, we've got 2 rounds of fixtures here to run through, and 3 if you. Oh no, 2 because Man United aren't playing this weekend. But speaking of Man United, 2-1 loss to Leicester, where Solskjaer was heavily criticised for making 10 changes to his starting lineup.
You know, I am obviously not one to defend Manchester United that often, but if you've got 3 games in 5 days, then I think you're well within your right to make a load of changes. We've got the European Championships coming up this summer. I can't imagine there'd be many national team managers thinking, "Oh yeah, I'd love it if my players were playing 270 minutes in 5 days." It's a lot of football, and Man United, they pay these players well. They're all professionals. 7 of them were full internationals. I don't really see what the issue is. I think there's definitely a case to look at if you want to punish Manchester United for the security breach with allowing the fans to get into Old Trafford when this game was first meant to be played, and that's fine. Like, I think that is something that could be dealt with, and there probably should be a fine or something to go with it. But there was nothing that said that they couldn't have played that game later that night, or they couldn't have moved it to Man United's training ground, or any other alternative that wasn't squeezing this into an already tight fixture schedule.
Yeah, we'll talk about the rearranged fixture soon, but I do agree with. There was people saying that. It was mainly Liverpool fans that were saying this is going to dampen our chances of getting into the top 4 if you play a weakened side against Leicester. But it still wasn't a weak side, and you have a 23-man squad for a reason. Like, you have that squad to change, and I know a lot of people were throwing around the Wolves debate. Wolves got fined for making 10 changes against Man United. But it was from that game that they decided to put in the rule where it is, if they are in the 23-man squad at the start of the season, it's fine. It's not like we chucked a load of under-21s in and just went, there you go.
No, exactly. They are in the squad. Most of them are international players. I don't understand how you can say to anyone, you can hire these people and employ them, but no, you're not allowed to use them as and when you want them.
Yeah, what do you mean you're paying them a wage? Let them sit on the bench for the full season.
The only one that caught me out was I had and still do have no idea who Ilanga is. Not a clue.
And you may never hear his name again.
Well, they clearly did enough of a job to fill some space on the left-hand side.
So moving on to the other game on that Tuesday night, Southampton 3, Palace 1. Christian Benteke keeping up his record of scoring early in games, but Danny Ings getting 2 and Che Adams finishing off Crystal Palace there. Although there's nothing to play for them, Southampton probably do want to have a decent end to this season, seeing as it started really well. It has gone horribly, horribly wrong ever since I said they'd win the league. And then, they could have been relegated if things had have worked out for Fulham.
At the start of this game, they were 17th. That's how far down they'd fallen. And it is a good job that Fulham and West Brom have been as poor as they have been, because this is just. I know they got the win, but by this point it's essentially a meaningless fixture. But they've been in free fall of Southampton for months now, and at some point, you have to kind of blame someone. And I don't know if you blame the players. I don't know if you blame the manager. I don't know what it is, but it's clearly gone wrong.
Don't blame Jack's beloved Hasenhüttl now.
I was with him the whole time. I agree. I like Hasenhüttl, but there's only so many football matches you could lose in a period of time where this part of you thinks, I think he might be getting this wrong. I mean, it's a manager who was also, with the same team, conceded 9 goals on 2 occasions.
Yeah, one of them, well, in fact, it being in 2 different seasons as well. One being last season and one being this season.
I don't know, would it be? I think it'd be worse if it happened twice in one season. That'd be horrendous. If in a full season you could say in 2 games we've conceded 18 goals. Man City. I've got the league table here. Let me just have a look at this, because I'm pretty sure Man City have only conceded like 29 goals this season. Under Ralph Hasenhüttl in 2 games, Southampton have conceded 18.
Yeah, it does make you question, is it defensively, do they need to make some new signings? Because at the start of this season, Vestergaard and Bednarek looked like 2 solid centre-backs for them. But as the season's gone on, I don't know whether it is a fitness issue or something like that. The wheels really have come off of that defence.
Yeah. They've conceded more goals than both Fulham and Sheffield United. That's bad.
Yeah, that's a horrible stat.
Well, it's good to know that Big Sam has come in and done the job defensively. West Brom conceding 70 this season.
But to be fair, probably 55 of them will be before Sam Allardyce came in.
There weren't. He turned up and we shipped what, 4 or 5 past them?
Yeah, 5 I think you put past them.
Like, I know they've scored I think they scored 7 goals against Chelsea this season, who again haven't conceded a whole lot of goals. But I know we were talking about Southampton here, but I'm happy to take any time to slag off Sam Allardyce.
Well, we'll move on to the Wednesday game. Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1. Mikel Arteta is a tactical genius. The right man for the job.
Is he? Is he really?
He's going to lead Arsenal right back up that table. Just you wait, they'll be getting 4th again.
He seemed very upset about comments that had been misconstrued from his earlier press conference, I believe. That seems to be the entire theme of his post-match press conference. I mean, look, it was a better performance from Arsenal. I'll give it that. But the goal also comes from a ridiculous mistake. Like, it's not as if it's, prime Wenger, Bielsa ball combined, glorious passing with Jack Wilshere finishing a tap-in from 2 yards out after 57 passes before it. Like, no, it was a bad back pass.
I'm sure we'll talk about it more as we get into the FA Cup final as well. But do you think Chelsea might have... Well, in this game, did you think they had one eye on the FA Cup final?
Probably. I dare say for Thomas Tuchel, like, I know your 2 main aims would probably be winning the Champions League and finishing in the top 4. But he's been there, 3 months? And it's a chance to win a trophy early on. So it wouldn't shock me if they had sort of turned their attention to it, which, clearly didn't quite work out. But it'd be hard, especially it must be hard having a midweek game before a Wembley final.
Yeah, it must mess with players' heads, especially. I know that we're trying to get all these fixtures done in time so that players have a bit of a rest before they go into the European Championships, but it's got to get to a point now where players are pretty much being run ragged just to get this season finished.
Yeah, and this moving the games around, so now we have another set of midweek fixtures, which is mostly just to allow fans in to home stadiums for the final home game of the season, which again is great. Like, it's great that fans are going to get in and watch these games, but you're cramming a lot of football into a short space of time at the moment.
Yeah. Well, one game that I'm pretty sure fans were happy not to be there for was Villa versus Everton, 0-0.
Yep, it was 0-0. Right, cool. We've covered that one.
Yeah, I think that was basically saying Everton's chances of getting top 4 is now dead in the water. I think it was dead in the water before that game took place, realistically.
I mean, just remember in like September and October, people are like, oh, no, this is different. This is a different Everton team now. They've got the bit between the teeth, and oh no, wait, they're finishing 8th again. I don't care if you sign James Rodriguez. You've now got a place in life, Everton. It's 8th.
I do think the missing Allen for so much of the season probably has contributed to them declining, because they did at the start of the season when they had their full fit team and they had that midfield of Allen, Decore and Rodriguez just in front of them. They looked so set, like defensively in midfield and going forward. They looked like they could cause any team problems, and I don't know whether injuries have derailed them or Ancelotti's just not got the tactics right for the full season. Coincide that with Calvert-Lewin losing a bit of form as well. They really have dropped off a cliff, but just not as much as what Southampton did.
No, well, I'd be concerned if anyone dropped off that much. Yeah, it's with Everton. I think it's a good squad, but again, when you look at the league table, who's above them now? But I think certainly the top 6 all have better squads than them.
And then West Ham.
Everton's is probably better. You've got to give it that. So I don't think there's a lot to say there with Everton. I just think there's better teams than them.
Yeah. So a game where we'll probably focus a bit on the off-field problems as much as the on-field, as where Man United was supposed to take on Liverpool, and we got some more protests. Yay! Man United fans thinking, what's the best way to stop this game from happening now? We've stormed the pitch before. Now, let's park as cars in front of the Liverpool bus.
I mean, there's a lot going on. There's that. Man United brought in 3 different team coaches and sent them to different locations. Like they sent one to the regular team hotel as a decoy. Like they had the players were at the ground 6 or 7 hours before kickoff, and they were using the hospitality boxes as basically bedrooms for the players to sleep in and rest through the day. Like, it's mad. This is football. How has it come to this? Oh, I know how. It's because they tried to leave the Premier League. That's why.
Yeah, blame the Glazers.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely there. Like, I'm not blaming the players for any of this. It's just ridiculous that it ever came to this. And James Bond hasn't used such elaborate decoys in his life, let alone fucking Man United. Jesus.
Well, if only they could have used some of those decoys on the pitch, they might not have got battered 4-2 by Liverpool.
Well, they should have parked one of those buses.
Yeah. It's not Jose. He's not in charge anymore. Yeah, Bruno getting a goal, then Jota, Firmino getting 2, Rashford bringing it back to 3-2, and then Salah finishing right at the end on the 90th minute to make it 4-2. Roy Keane questioned Dean Henderson for the Salah goal. He said that Henderson looks incredibly small inside the goal. I don't know whether it's because he's too small or it's just because of it.
Mean?
I have no idea.
Is he saying he needs to get taller, or does he need to get wider?
He said he didn't make himself big enough, and it makes him look incredibly small.
I mean, as we've heard this season and at the back end of last season, Roy Keane is now something of a goalkeeping expert.
Because in the past life,
I was going to say, if I remember rightly, he was the goalkeeper in the treble-winning season, right? That was him, wasn't it?
Yeah, he got himself suspended for that Champions League final, so he couldn't play in midfield, but he did play in goal.
Yeah. He's a very strange man, is Roy Keane.
He's one of those people. I do enjoy him on punditry because he does just call people out for talking shit, but he does also talk a lot of shit himself.
I wonder, like, do you know when just before they start, if they have like the producer there or the presenter or whoever, it's just like, all right, guys, just remember, we're gonna have a chat about football. We'll have a bit of fun with it. And when someone says have a bit of fun, Roy Keane just stares at them like, this isn't a matter of fun.
Do you think this is fun?
And Micah Richards is just sat next to him, laughing his head off already.
But what was the one about someone bursted onto the scene and Micah Richards was like, I burst onto the scene. What are you on about? Proper kicked off at him because he said that people can't just burst onto the scene anymore. So the Friday games, we're into the actual game round for this weekend. Newcastle 3, Man City 4. Well, didn't expect that.
Yeah, so, I mean, coached by Manager of the Month Steve Bruce, so clearly me and Jack have been wrong all year. This is very much a match between two I think when you get two teams playing against each other who basically have nothing left to play for, you either get a really slow-paced game where neither team's trying and just thinking, listen, lads, we've all got summer holidays booked here and none of us wants to go there on crutches, so let's just take it easy. Or you just so bollocks to defending, let's just run forward, not tackle each other and just score whenever we feel like. And Newcastle went, sounds good to me.
Yeah, I must admit, I was speaking about this game yesterday and I was saying Ferran Torres, his hat-trick is, although some of his finishes are quite simple, you would expect him to score, he makes everything there look so easy. And that first goal where he just flicks it with his back of his heel back to goal and chips the keeper, it's something from a player that to be honest, he signed in the summer and I was thinking, how is he ever going to get into this Man City side? But he has shown glimpses of being a really good player.
Yeah, he obviously was the highlight of the game. That first finish, absolutely love it. It's the faster version of Canu, as that goal I believe is called now. But I thought the two standouts were obviously him, and on the other side, I thought Joe Willock had a fantastic game for Newcastle, and Newcastle must be praying that there is a price they can get hold of him for, and it's below 15 million because they're not going to spend that much.
You on about? I mean, he's planning on how long he has to wait till he can sign him on a free.
He's one of those, and I know I've spoken about Arsenal and trying to get some of the younger players in quicker, but he's really proved himself in his time there, and I think it's been so beneficial for him to get that game time.
I did like Newcastle employing the FIFA tactic of whoever wins the penalty takes the penalty. With Joelinton getting one in the first half, and then Joe Willock deciding, no, I'm going to take this one. And although he missed, he did finish it in the end.
I mean, it's got to be considered a good game for Scott Carson, who hadn't played since. How long has it been since he played a Premier League game?
Oh, Premier League! I was going to say he was Derby's keeper, and he probably didn't play for 2 years before then.
Yeah, it's been a while since he made a Premier League appearance, so he was quite happy, and at least he saved a penalty. That was nice.
It did look odd though. I didn't get to watch this game live. I watched the highlights of it, and there was one point where the ball gets played over the top, and then I see Scott Carson running out to it, and I'm thinking, "Fuck, he's actually got on the pitch."
Yeah, this was clearly a season's done, league's won. Zach Stefan's played in the League Cup final and all that run, so Scott Carson, you can have a go today.
Yeah, there is part of me that does think, I don't think Pep really trusts Zach Stefan.
I don't know. He's a decent young keeper, Zach Steffen. I'm saying young. He could be any age. I'm not entirely sure. But he's significantly younger than Scott Carson.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So on to the Saturday games, and I'm sure you'll love talking about this game. Burnley 0, Leeds 4. Well, after the first half, I didn't see this coming.
The first 5-10 minutes, Burnley did a decent job keeping the ball in our half, but just very quickly we kind of got the lay of the land. I thought we were very effective stopping Chris Wood, and I think you could see as the game went on, he was getting more and more frustrated. I think he got in a bit of an argument with Llorente. Clearly not the biggest argument that went on in that game, but we'll get to that one. But pretty much once we went 1-0 up, there wasn't really, I didn't really have many concerns that it was going to go any other way after that. I think Vidra had a decent chance where I think he took one touch too many and Meslier makes the save. But no, I thought Leeds were great. Phillips and Rafinha were back in the team. I thought Calvin Phillips' range of passing was superb. And just assume. Tell you what, we don't even need to sign anyone. I think we're winning the league next year. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it was nice to see Click get a goal in the first half. The amount of times you see the ball come back to him just outside the edge of the area, and you just go, where is this actually going to go? And he actually placed this one brilliantly.
Yeah, the disappointing thing is with Click, we've, over the last couple of years, we've seen what he's finishing from about 20, 25 yards can be, and it's very good for the most part. But this season, one, he's looked very tired. I think we got to November and he just, his form fell off a cliff. And then I think this timeout has done him good. And even when he was lining that shot, was just thinking, don't put it over. Please don't put it over. Because he went through a run of every time it came to him on the edge of the box, it was going over the bar. So, yeah, really, really tidy finish. Again, 20 yards out, just curling it around. I was surprised that Burnley backed off as much as they did for that, because he carries the ball from halfway to 20 yards from goal. And no one makes a challenge. And I think it's only when Tarkowski steps out, he just curls it around him.
Yeah, I think maybe that was part of Burnley's mentality of they've seen his shooting this season and expected him to maybe lash wildly at it a little bit. But no, he kept his head calm, cool, composed. He even had the wherewithal to bend it around Tarkowski and use him basically as a shield to put it into that bottom corner. Peacock Farrell must have fucking hated this game.
Yeah, to be fair to him, there's none of the goals I thought were much he could do about. And I didn't think he had a particularly good or bad game. Like, I'm never going to go as far as to say he had a good game when you've conceded 4, but he just had a very average performance. And, the goals you look at, I don't think he could have done a right lot about. Clearly, the Burnley defence couldn't do a right lot about Leeds coming forward time and again.
Yeah, I know Jack Harrison scored, but I kind of want to touch on the 2 Rodrigo goals because they're his 5th and 6th goals of the season for you, and both of them are so well taken. Lovely little chip for the first one, and then the second one with a lovely touch and the clear head to just take it around him and tap it into an open goal. He looked every bit of a £33 million striker with both of those finishes.
Yeah, he's had a very rough go of it this season, as rough as it can be, getting paid the money he does and everything. But, he's moved over during a pandemic. I couldn't tell you what his family situation is, but I'm sure it's probably not been the easiest for them, leaving your home country. He's had time out with injuries. He's had time out with COVID. I think it's been rough for him, a rough time for him, just trying to get any real rhythm going. And it's hard enough to pick up Bielsa's football at the best of times. But he's, obviously came on, scored against Spurs. and then has got a couple heads in, like you say, really nicely taken, show that he's still confident, because those are the sorts of chances where when you see a striker that's not confident, they typically will really open the body up and really signal that they're going to try and put it, wide to the keeper or whatever. But in that case, no, just one touch is a nice little flick over Peacock Farrell, and the second one just confidently, just knowing he's going to dribble around him. And I think I'm pretty sure it's for the second goal. Is it Calvin Phillips' ball? Just head up, pings it wide. God, it was good.
Yeah, it's strange. I've had this conversation quite a few times of, I don't believe one player can make a team, but I think there's also an argument for one player can help a team play so much differently. And he is your anchor, your main point of, right, get it to Calvin and just let him ping it wherever he wants.
Yeah, that's the thing you lose. Obviously, his defensive work is fantastic, but that's the side of things that Robin Koch gets. And while it didn't come off against Brighton, against Spurs, he had a very good game in that holding midfield role. But he does not have that range of passing that Calvin Phillips does. And it's not just the fact that he can play those passes, it's the speed at which he can find those passes. Because there's plenty of players who, when he picked it up there, could have taken a touch or two, get it out of his feet, head up, because he had the time to do that. But it's just the awareness he has, get the ball, touch, go. And that's the ability he has, and the speed. And speed is so important to Leeds' play. So if you've got someone who can play passes like that, on the turn essentially, then, it's very tough to replace that.
Yeah. So we'll move on, because we are half an hour in and we've still got quite a bit to talk about. So we'll run through these Premier League games quite quickly. Southampton 3, Fulham 1. Main talking point from this, Fabio Carvalho, the teenager for Fulham, getting his first goal on his first start. We're a decent finish as well in that. I did think he'd fluffed it at first when he hit it so high, but hitting it off the roof of the net, it does make it look like a more clinical finish.
Yeah, nice moment, and I suppose it's just one of those things. I remember the season Leeds got relegated from the Premier League, Matthew Gilgallen scoring in the final home game of the season. You're like, oh, this must be a really nice moment, but we are still going down. Yeah. So it must be an odd thing of just like, well, just enjoy the little things while we can.
Yeah, he might be a player to watch out for in the Championship next season, though. Especially, seeing that half of Fulham's squad will go back to their parent clubs. And then Brighton 1, West Ham 1. West Ham's Champions League hopes definitely have disintegrated and fallen away. There's still a chance for Europa League, but it's been a good season, nonetheless, whether they get Europa League football or not, seeing as pretty much everyone had them to be relegated at the start of this season.
Honestly, there is every chance they don't qualify for Europe this season. And Everton are losing 1-0 at the moment, which will help them somewhat. But if Everton get a result today, it puts them level on points with West Ham as well. And with 2 games left, West Ham could full well end up not playing in Europe at all next season, which would be a shame for the players, but it would tell a story of a very disappointing end to the season.
Well, realistically, if Chelsea's form continues the way it does, they drop out of the top 4, Liverpool take that 4th place, and then by some miracle Chelsea beat Man City in the Champions League final, the Europa League places do go to 6th and 7th.
Well, yeah. I mean, there is every chance they finish 8th this season now. Like they've got to be. They need a couple of good results to finish the season off with. Just looking up now to see who they've got last 2 games. They have West Brom and Southampton, so that could be helpful for them.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look and you see Everton have Wolves, which is going to be a tough game for them. We play every other game on the final day on the Sunday, and then they've got Man City as well.
Yeah, again, whether it's the case once you get to the last day of the season that Man City put out some children to play, or the B team, or the C team, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. To rest players, because for them there is absolutely no point risking anyone getting injured now.
Yeah, I know Eric Garcia is going on a free at the end of the season, but just let him play.
Yeah, well, there is no sense playing the best defence in the league because they want to be the best defence in Europe now.
And the final game that we'll talk about from the Saturday, the FA Cup final. A lovely, lovely moment where Leicester beat Chelsea 1-0. It's not a lovely moment if you're a Chelsea fan, but for me, this is a lovely, lovely moment. I think everyone who wasn't a Chelsea fan was rooting for Leicester to win this final.
Yeah, I mean, basically, fuck off to any team that was going to join the Super League. And I don't care if it was like, well, we were only going to join because everyone else was doing it. Like, no, bollocks to you, mate. You were going to leave, and now Leicester have done you.
Yeah, and to win with that goal as well. What an absolute rocket from Tielemans.
It was very reminiscent to me of Roberto Di Matteo's goal at Wembley. I think it's 96 or 97. And it was like the quickest ever Wembley goal, about 12 seconds. Just now, it was just all it was missing was cannoning in off the crossbar. But yeah, Tielemans' shot was fantastic. Quite wide again. You'd allow him that much space and time, 25 yards out. I'm not sure, but you give him that time and he takes that chance really well.
There was part of me that when I was listening to the coverage and the post-match celebrations as well, it did annoy me when they were kept going on about, Leicester's 126-year wait for an FA Cup, and they've been to the final before, forgetting that 5 years ago they won the Premier League. It made it out as if they'd not won anything forever.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose for a team, it is quite a strange story these days to have a team that has won the Premier League and has not won the FA Cup. I know obviously you go back to the late 1800s and early 1900s where you've got like Royal Engineers and that aren't pulling up any trees these days. But yeah, it's a different story, but it's quite nice that there are a group of players that's easy to like. You've got a chairman and an owner who is very easy to like as well, is very much on the more caring side of things. So yeah, it was nice to see, and it was also nice as a Leeds fan to see Chelsea have a 90th minute equaliser ruled out.
Yeah, I guess we best talk about that. Offside?
Well, I was only watching the live coverage, and that didn't really seem to show it. I don't know how in this day and age, but it quickly showed it. There wasn't any lines or anything, and then we just seemed to go, "Yep, that's been disallowed." We all move on. Now, I'm assuming the lines were like we seem to have lines drawn on for Alan St-Maximin in the build up to the penalty in Newcastle Man City, despite the fact he was about 2 yards onside. And yet for this one, it was just look at that clip. Yeah, he's offside anyway.
Brush that under the carpet. Let's move on.
I'm pretty sure at Stockley Park, that was like the head of the FA going, nah, fuck him.
Yeah, either that or they were going, come on, we've had 90 minutes of fans in the stadium now. We can't have another 30 minutes.
That's just too much.
Yeah, COVID's fine for 90 minutes, but if it's 120,
I mean, one of my favourite images from that game came out it was just a fan stood up, sticking twos up at the opposing fans, and it just went, nature is is getting back to normal now. Because there's something very reassuring about seeing someone stick two fingers up at another group of people, and you're just like, yes, I miss this.
Football. So on to the Sunday games. Palace came back from 2-1 down against Villa to win 3-2. Goals from Christian Benteke, Wilfried Zaha, and Tyreek Mitchell. Big John McGinn and Anwar El Ghazi got the goals for Aston Villa. Lovely goal by John McGinn as well. And nice to see him get that goal whilst being Villa captain as well for the first time.
Yeah, I've got to say I haven't seen much of the games from today, but I will take that because it does mean we only need one win in our last two now to definitely finish above Villa.
Lovely stuff. Spurs won 2-0 against Wolves. Harry Kane getting a goal which took him above Mohamed Salah in the Golden Boot race, and Højbjerg as well getting a goal in the second half.
Yeah, very strange seeing Højbjerg as the man running onto a rebound. Like, you're the holding midfielder. What are you doing that for? But he was clearly just off on a tear, because I think 3 times in the build-up to that he's screaming for the ball. And I don't know if it's because he's a holding midfielder where the other players have gone, no, we're not giving it to you. You don't know what we're doing here.
If we'd have called the season in December, he'd have probably been in my team of the season because he had a really great start to the start of the season. But again, second half of this season, he's just fallen away. Pretty much, which is the same for Spurs as a whole, have just fallen away.
Yeah, pretty much. It's obviously a decent result for them and keeps them in with the most outside hopes of getting that 4th place, but I can't see it happening. And bollocks to them. I can't say I'm not bothered about Spurs.
And then on to the game that's just finished before we went live. West Brom 1, Liverpool 2. Harold van Kanu got the goal for West Brom, put them up 1-0 in first 15 minutes. Salah then getting a goal, making sure that him and Kane stay equal in the Golden Boot race. And then a 95th minute equaliser by Alisson.
Yeah, again, I've missed. I don't know how I got to the 89th minute of this game, and I just watched the second half and just thought, I'm not bothered about this. So it was just looking at the results now, going, Liverpool won it, did they? Yeah.
Oh, and it's Alisson, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, do you paint me a word picture here? What happened?
So, it's pretty simple. 94th minute corner, swung in, Alisson gets highest, big header, bottom corner.
Lovely. Taking away any sort of implications of whether they'll get into the Champions League or not, we all love to see a goalkeeper scoring.
Yeah, he becomes the 6th goalkeeper in Premier League history to score. Any ideas on the other 5?
Well, Paul Robinson.
Yeah.
Is the first one. Has Ben Foster got one?
No.
All right. Peter Schmeichel.
Yep.
Oh. I'm trying to think, who else would have one? I'm going to struggle with this one now.
2 came in back-to-back seasons, and they were pretty much exactly the same. Both very wind-assisted.
Yeah. Last couple of guests I'll have because I could really drag this podcast out otherwise. I'm gonna go with. I don't know why. Let's go. Brad Friedel.
Brad Friedel in 2004.
Oh, what a guess! And then around that time, who else would you have had? I just think, to be honest, in my head, Brad Friedel was playing for every team at that point. I don't know why I'm gonna stay English for this one and say Rob Green. I don't think it's him.
No, it's not Rob Green. The other two from the 2012 season and the 2013 season, respectively, Tim Howard and Agsmir Begovic.
I do remember Tim Howard's now. Begovic, I've not a clue.
Begovic is the longest goal in Premier League history.
Is that because his was a goal kick?
No, it was played back from kickoff, and he just kicked it from his box. And then, as Casey's already alluded to, Everton are 1-0 down to Sheffield United, still in the first half.
That's an eighth place team for you right there.
Yeah. Never heard of the player who scored, Daniel Jebison.
No, I mean, if you're Sheffield United, again, you're already down. You're already bottom, but you're not going to be any worse than Derby were that year. So just play all the kids.
17-year-old Daniel Jebison scores his first Premier League goal on his first Premier League start. What a lovely way to go down.
Yeah, again, same as Fulham. What a nice story. Shame you've already been relegated.
So, on to the main topic. And I say main topic because, we're 13 minutes off an hour here and we're about to get into probably a bit of a debate. Premier League team of the season. Now, I didn't know how to do this because obviously we'll go through it and we'll go position by position and say who our teams of the seasons are. But I wanted to talk a bit about the team of the seasons that get given by FIFA or EA Sports. They give a team of the season for their ultimate team. And then I wanted to talk about Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher's team of the seasons that they did on Monday Night Football last week. So I think what we'll do is we'll go through our teams and then we'll go through the Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher ones, and then we'll talk about the FIFA one.
Yeah, fair enough. I reckon, I'm going to say this before we do this. I think we have 7 players that cross over at the 11.
I would not be surprised, if I'm honest. I'd not be surprised. So, we'll start in net. Who have you got as your goalkeeper of the season?
This is the one where I don't think we'll have any crossover. I've gone with Emi Martinez because I think... Have you got him as well?
I've got Emi Martinez as well.
I just think Alisson's had his moments. Edison has had a particularly easy year with that defence in front. It's no knock on him. I just don't think he's had a right lot to do most of the season. I don't think De Gea or Henderson have played particularly well enough in the stints they've been in for that. As you kind of go down the list of teams, I just think that for a mid-table team, I think he's actually been a big part of them moving as far away from relegation as they have this year. I think he's a very calming influence at the back, and it's also a story to love after seeing him win the FA Cup, and he's now finally getting a run as a first-choice goalkeeper. I just think he's had a fantastic season. Yeah,
for me, I think he's probably one of my signings of the season. Villa desperately needed a goalkeeper. They had 3 goalkeepers last year between Tom Heaton, Pepe Reina, and I can't remember who the third one was. Like a young Czech Republic keeper, I think they had as their third choice.
Was that Marek Rodak?
No, because I think he was still playing at Fulham.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they desperately needed a goalkeeper, and Martinez has probably been one of the best bit of business that Villa could have done coming into this season. Like I said, I know Edison got the Golden Glove, he's got the Golden Glove. I don't think there's any way anyone can catch him now, but he's not had a right lot to do. I think we need to give a bit of a shout out to Sam Johnson as well for the amount of saves he's pulled out this season. Although it's been for a relegated side, he's been in fine form for West Brom, and if it wasn't for him, they'd probably have been down a lot sooner than just last week.
Yeah, there's typically always, with one of the teams that goes down, there's normally an outstanding goalkeeper performance in there where you just kind of have to realise that it's a very good goalkeeper behind a very poor defence. So there's a lot's going to get through it. Obviously, like, they've conceded the most goals this season, West Brom, but I've yet to see anyone speaking poorly of Sam Johnson this season.
Yeah, and I think we can probably extend that to Areola as well in Fulham's goal as well, because I think, again, he's had a great season. Just unfortunate that Fulham have been relegated. So on to your right back. I'll say mine first. I probably think we'll have the same one. I've gone with João Cancelo.
Oh, we do not have the same one.
Oh, well, I think I know it's a bit hard because they've basically fought between them, Cancelo and Walker, as to who was going to be the starting right back. And at points, Cancelo has been playing left back this season for them, but I think he's been so good this year. He came to Man City last year with a big reputation behind him from playing for Juventus and having such a good season with them the season before. And he kind of fell short, didn't really get much game time, but this season he's really stepped up. His range of passing looks incredible. He seems to just be able to ping a ball from that dead ball line. And the crossover between him and Mahrez this season has been incredible. The pace that he's got, the defensive awareness, he does seem to have really come into his own this season. And I think he'll probably give Kyle Walker a good run for his money next season as well.
Yeah, like, I did look at those two for trying to get them into my team, but I've gone with Vladimir Soufal at West Ham. I think he's been a brilliant signing, and I think he's one of the signings of the season for them. Kind of outside of the bastards who tried to leave, because I don't want to just refer to them as the Elite Six or whatever. I think he has been an integral part of that West Ham team. I think he's absolutely fantastic, and he has the mad eyes similar to a Thomas Repka or someone like that, which is what you want as a West Ham fan.
Yeah, I must admit, he's been one of those, probably one of the most underappreciated signings of the summer. I do think Kufal's been a good signing for them. And it's someone that I think Ryan Fredericks that they've got can probably learn a bit more about the defensive side of things rather than just bombing down the wing and looking for a cross. But onto his centre-backs. I'll let you go with both your centre-backs first, because I think we probably have one at least, which is the same.
Yeah, I tried to split these up, but when you've got a team that's defensively been that as good as Man City have, it's hard not to pick them. So I have gone with Ruben Diaz and John Stones. No sense. One of those. No, I was going to say no sense splitting up a partnership that's worked so well.
Yeah, Ruben Diaz, he's been absolutely phenomenal from the first game that he played for them. I think he signed just before you played them at Ellen Road. You were in the stands watching that game, and then ever since being in that side, he has changed their defence tenfold. He's been absolutely incredible. And I mean, he's got the confidence to back it up as well, coming out and claiming that he's the best Portuguese defender ever already at the age of 23. It's a bit of a long shot.
What's the benchmark here, essentially, by the end of your career? Ricardo Carvalho?
Pepe?
It's one of them two, really, isn't it? So
yeah, I can't really think of any other Portuguese centre-backs that has been absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, it's very good. He's very good, and I did see. I think it was Gary. Was it Gary Neville had him down as his Player of the Year as well?
Yeah.
There is part of me just thinks you can't be defender as player of the year. No one turns on the it's not Serie A. No one turns on the Premier League to watch good defending.
Yeah, it's why Tomori's loving the Serie A. You see that he jumped.
That's why Chris Smalling loved it up until he found out Jose Mourinho's going over there.
That's why I said he'll be back in Fulham next season. Ruben Diaz, I do agree. I think he's the best Premier League centre-back at the moment and worthy of being in the Premier League team this season. I do disagree. I do think that he'll be in the shortlist at least for the Premier League Player of the Year. I think last year that Van Dijk got it, and I mean he was highly regarded as the best Premier League centre-back. And if it wasn't for him being injured this season, it'd be good to see Diaz's stats versus Van Dijk's stats and see where they're both at. Even though Diaz, is a lot younger, it'd be nice to compare the two and see how far apart they are in terms of quality.
Yeah, who have you got partnering him there?
Yeah, I was dreading saying this because I know what I'm going to get, and trust me, I understand that everybody doesn't think he's that great of a centre back, but I think for someone who's been such a vocal point for a team, and we've missed him the past couple of games where he's not played for us, I've got Harry Maguire.
Oh, when you said we missed him, I thought you were going to talk about like Kieran Clark or Paul Dummett or something then, but...
Emil Kraft, sorry.
No, I think it's a fair shout. It's one of those things not having him in these last couple of games. I do think it proves his value a little bit when you don't have Harry Maguire in the team. It was just, I think with him, it's just another case of there's still complaints about Man United's team, and despite the fact she's second now. And I think anytime there's going to be a little, a minor flaw, he's one of those players that I think will get picked out very quickly for any minor mistake, unfortunately.
He is hard done by because I don't think we've ever really settled on who's going to be the main partnership between him and the other centre-back. Like, I do like Lindelof, but he's very much like John Stones. He's just got such a mistake in him, and it's always a crucial mistake as well. Whereas Eric Bailly, you just can't trust him to stay fit. So maybe Maguire will do even better with a solid partnership at the back. But I do think he has proved himself quite well this season, especially defensively for us, because I think we've relied on him a lot.
Yeah.
I was
going to say, I'm assuming it's between two people that we have picked for left back.
No, there is only one person that you can pick, and it's Luke Shaw, so let's move on.
It's not. It's Ben Chilwell, but...
You can fuck off. If you've picked Ben Chilwell over Luke Shaw...
I have picked Ben Chilwell. I'm
right,
all about
guys, we'll see you next week.
I'm all about those flying fullbacks getting forward, and I don't need your chunky left back ruining things.
Hey, he got told that he was too skinny and he needed to put some strength on, and now you're telling him he's too fat. Leave him alone. All right? He's lovely to see it for a left back position that the two best Premier League left backs are both English, but are both injury prone.
And are both going to miss out in the first starting 11 in the Euros to a right back.
Go on, Trippier.
Honestly, I think it was very close between the two of them. I love Ben Chilwell as... And this is it's no slight on Luke Shaw. I'm a big fan of his as well. But in my mind, Ben Chilwell is the modern day fullback as someone who is probably better going forward than he is defensively. And I'm not saying he's a bad defender. I think he's just very good going forward.
See, that's why I picked Luke Shaw, because I think this season Luke Shaw's really worked on his defensive side. and the stamina that he shows to get back and defend, but also contribute with corners and whipping the ball in as well. I think
it's just tough when you're carrying all that weight.
Muscle.
No, I don't want to rag on Luke Shaw. I'm fully aware he's not over. Like you said, he's someone who just hit the gym for a year and just like what he like. I just looked up one day, saw him playing, and went, "Who the fuck is that? That's not Luke Shaw. That's Mojo Rawley."
Yeah. To be honest, if you see him and Brandon Williams stood next to each other, you do go, Luke Shaw 2016, Luke Shaw now. I think he's been phenomenal. And to be honest, if he isn't the starting left back in the Euros, I will be quite shocked. But Southgate's got a chubby for Trippier, so.
All right.
I imagine.
Here's the other thing as well. What formation are you playing in this?
I'm playing 4-3-3.
Oh, I've gone 4-2-3-1. We can make this work. It'll be fine.
Right. Okay. Go on then. Give me your 2 defensive midfielders.
One of them, I'm not entirely sure how defensive they are. One of them is a man we discussed earlier, and I have put Calvin Phillips in this team as my defensive player. I couldn't not have him in this team. I think he's outstanding as a holding midfielder. It probably should be N'Golo Kante. Like, it probably should. But I love Calvin. So he's in the team. And yeah, defensive would be loosely turned in this one, but I put him alongside Ilkay Gundogan, who, for some reason, Man City not playing with a striker has just meant that he just starts scoring goals left, right, and centre.
Yeah, you know what? I do feel quite bad now because I've ranted and raved about Gundogan this season and how well he's played for him, but he didn't even cross my mind for the midfield. He has been great going forward. It does seem strange to see a midfielder with 12 goals and only 2 assists, but it seems good to see the Gundogan that they signed from Dortmund back. He's had a horrid time with injuries, and it did look like he was just going to end up being a player for the chopping block. But this season, he's really stepped up.
Yeah, it's been great. It's one of those things where the traditionalist in my head does just scream at Man City going, what do you mean you're not playing with a number 9? Like, this is madness. But then you just have essentially 5 attacking players who can all score whenever they feel like it.
Yeah. I imagine we'll probably have one of the midfielders that... In fact, I'll just name the one defensive midfielder that I've got at the moment. I've gone with Thomas Souček.
He was very close to making my team. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, you talk about... You mentioned Koufal, but I think Souček has probably been West Ham's best signing this summer. For someone who's come in and not only has he helped them defensively, but he's also chipped in with 8-9 goals this season. Admittedly, most of them from corners.
I mean, who signs a central midfielder that's taller than the Big Show? That's weird. That's how he looks in my head now. He's just... I don't know if I'm scarred by West Ham scoring set pieces against us, but yeah, I feel sorry for him in a little bit because I do think his height and the goals he scored from corners probably takes away from how good a footballer he's been for them this season.
Yeah, he's like the defensive midfield version of Peter Crouch. You look at his height and go, you shouldn't be that technically good on the ball, but he just is. Yeah,
I mean, again, I don't know if it's just because football's moved on now, but I understand that there are tall people, but that doesn't just mean like we just teach them how to head a ball and just like you'll pick the rest up on your own. It'll be fine. Like once you've made it to the Premier League, pretty much every one of them can just about play football.
Yeah. So your attacking midfield, your sole attacking midfielder.
Again, it was between two, and for the longest time, I had Bruno Fernandes's name there, and then it just turned into Kevin De Bruyne.
That's fine because I've got them both.
Yeah, I found between my two wingers and my attacking midfielder, that's where I probably struggled most with this team because I think there was a lot of good choices there. Like Phil Foden misses out on this team, Mason Mount misses out on this team, who are two excellent footballers. But yeah, I had to have Kevin De Bruyne in.
Yeah, I don't think he's had one of the best seasons in terms of his quality. I think he's kind of been a bit quieter than usual, but he's still played such a huge role in Man City's side going forward and kind of just dominating that area between the halfway line and the edge of the opponent's area. He just seems to always want the ball. Even if he's under pressure, he always wants the ball. He always wants to make something happen. And I think he has been good this season, but I don't think he's been as good as what his standards are.
Yeah. And again, a lot of that is probably because I think everyone has such high standards of him now. Like that is, I suppose this is a different podcast, but is he the third best player in the world?
Third behind Messi and Mbappe.
Sorry. So Ronaldo's not on this list? Oh.
I wouldn't say after this season. I don't think he is.
See, I'm not going to hold that over Ronaldo just yet. For one season, I'm kind of willing to allow him to have an off season. He's been due one, and he still had a really good year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is just me looking at Juventus' season this season and thinking, God, he has fallen down the pecking order. But for me, Messi's still great, and Mbappe just seems to be that clinical finisher, and with the pace he's got as well, cause anyone a problem.
Yeah. What about your wide men?
Whoa! We can't just move on. We can't just brush over Bruno Fernandes here. Well, I know you wrote him down in pencil and you rubbed him out, but Bruno's still in my team. He's still got the most goals and assists combined for a midfielder this season. I think it's something like 20.
How many if you take out penalties?
He's still got the most goals as a midfielder from out. Even if you do take out penalties, I know they whined about him on the Thursday night game, saying that he was rolling around on the floor and screaming and things. And you pick it up more because there's no fans in the ground. You can hear him fucking making these shrieking noises as he hits the ground. But you can't take it away from him. He's such a great player, and I'll hold my hands up. I didn't think we should have been signing him from Sporting. I thought he was someone that had flopped in Serie A, gone back to Portugal, was shining in a lower league, should we say, and I thought he was just going to come to the Prem and not be able to cut it, but he's shown true class.
Yeah, he's all digs aside at the number of penalties that Manchester United have won and that he scores in the near 18 months he's been there now. He's a great footballer and has been an absolute talisman for you guys.
Yeah, we wouldn't be second if we didn't have Bruno. So my two wide attackers, sorry. Right wing, I've got Mohamed Salah, and left wing, I've got Phil Foden.
Oh, you did get Phil Foden into the team.
I couldn't not.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
That is it. I couldn't not have Phil Foden in this side.
Yeah, he is someone who just year on year now is just getting better and better and better.
Yeah,
but I didn't pick him, so he's brilliant. I love Phil Foden, but yeah, mine Mo Salah is in there on the wing because again, despite Liverpool's implosion this year, he has still been fantastic for them this year. Still been banging in the goals, and when Mane's dropped off and Firmino is not the most reliable source of goals, he has kept banging them in, and it's probably the reason they are still in with a shout of getting in the Champions League this year.
Yeah.
And on the other side, I've gone Son Heung-min.
Because
this will give away who my striker is, but the partnership that he has had with the unnamed striker in my team has been phenomenal. Those two, it's like, you know, telekinetic understanding that they seem to have of each other.
Yeah, that unnamed striker is also in my side, but yeah, I do agree. Son has had a good season, but I just think because of this second half of the season, he's gone quite quiet. I think Phil Foden,
him and the rest of Spurs, to be fair.
Yeah, well, everyone but Harry Kane, who still seems to be scoring. I think Phil Foden has been someone who has played any position basically that Pep wants him to play and has played it to a top level. For someone who 2 years ago missed out on a Premier League winners' medal by 2 games, and Pep could have played him in the final 2 games to give him that winners' medal, whether that's giving him the edge of, right, no, I need to prove myself and I'm going to. He's probably one of the reasons as well why Man City have got to that Champions League final, because Mahrez has been absolute quality in the Champions League, but I don't think that form's really translated into the Premier League that often, whereas Foden just seemed to played out of his skin all season long.
Yeah.
We might as well both just say.
So, Harry Kane, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. What can you say? Goals. Top scorer in the Premier League again. I did struggle to even think of a different striker to put in this position. I just think Harry Kane's too good.
Yeah, as you said, like I like Roberto Firmino, but he's not a goal scorer. Timo Werner's not done it as Chelsea strike. Chelsea haven't really had a reliable number 9 this year. Man United have kind of rotated between. I think Cavani might be the closest you get, but I still think he's a way off where Harry Kane is at this point.
I'm surprised you've not tried to slot Patrick Bamford in here.
I'd love to put Pat Bamford in, but I was trying to be realistic with this team as well. My subs bench might have a couple of Leeds players on there that you might not put in the team of the year, but like Man City as well, essentially learning a system where they don't need a striker. So for me, I'm not going to say it's wrong because clearly it's worked for them. I'm not a massive fan of the false 9 and having other essentially 5 attacking midfielders that will do the job of that one striker. But as a goal scorer, and the other thing he's really added this season is the assists. Like as I mentioned earlier, his partnership with Son, especially, those two just work so well off each other.
Yeah, if I were to have 5 defenders, not 5 defenders, 5 subs, so I had 5 people extra to put in, two of them would be Leeds players. I would have Patrick Bamford, and I'd have Luke Ayling as well, because I think Luke Ayling's been absolutely phenomenal this season, whether he's played centre-back or played right-back.
I see neither of those two were the Leeds players on my bench.
Rafinha, I'm guessing, is one.
No, which is surprising, because, again, it should be. If I was going to put a Leeds player into the team that's not Calvin Phillips, it probably should be Rafinha. I like that we're just talking about which Leeds players are making the bench now, but for me, it was Illan Meslier, because I just think as a goalkeeper at that age, like, my bench wasn't so much the 7 other players that were the best in the league. It was just 7 players that I really like. And I was also trying to not pick from the bastard 6, but Bukayo Saka had to be in there because he's the best thing about Arsenal. Like, it's just absolutely the best thing. I'll go through my bench quickly. It was Bukayo Saka, Thomas Souček, Ebere Eze, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jack Harrison, Illan Meslier, and Johnny Evans.
Ooh, Johnny Evans.
He's very important to that Leicester team. Again, when he's not on the pitch, they're not quite at that level. And again, I think Söyüncü's a good defender, and I like this back three they've got going. But that mostly revolves around him and how good he is. You've got Jack Harrison there with 8 goals and 8 assists this season. I think he's great first season in the Premier League. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, brilliant year. Hopefully he can keep that going. And Ebere Eze is, I'm saying this now, controversial this is, I think he's the best part about that Crystal Palace team, and I'm including Wilfried Zaha in that.
Yeah, Zaha has fallen off a cliff. I didn't have a full 7 bench. I had 5, which was Bamford, Ayling, Tielemans, Kante, and Gundogan. Yeah,
like I said, if I was being totally honest, N'Golo Kante would probably be in my team as the holding midfielder. But Calvin Phillips is brilliant, and I love him, and he can do whatever he wants.
Well, we'll talk about Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville's team very quickly, and then we'll go over the 15 players that got into the Premier League team of the season. At first, I thought you and Jamie Carragher were basically going to have the same side, because he went with Martinez in goal, Koufal at right back, John Stones and Ruben Diaz at centre back, but then went with Luke Shaw, Kevin De Bruyne, Kante, Bruno Fernandes, Phil Foden, Kane, and Heung-min Son.
Yeah, that's there's not too many times I'll give him his dues, but sometimes Jamie Carragher knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, well, whereas Gary Neville doesn't have a fucking clue. We'll go from front to back here. So he's gone with Harry Kane, Phil Foden, and Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Ilkay Gundogan, and Kevin De Bruyne, Luke Shaw, Ruben Diaz, Harry Maguire, Kyle Walker, and then Mendy in goal.
Mendy was, when I saw that, I thought it was a strange one.
I get what he were getting at, that Chelsea needed a goalkeeper, and he probably did give Chelsea that bit that they needed. They needed someone to replace Kepa. But he hasn't been, I don't think he's been team of the season worthy. He's been important, but he's not been that good.
Yeah, I know Chelsea, when I was looking through my team, because I think Chelsea have got the second best defensive record, I looked at their centre-backs because I thought one of them should probably be in there. But there's none of them have made 30-plus appearances this season. And I know it's only a 38-game season, but they've chopped and changed that defence quite a lot. So you've got Rudiger's got 20-odd appearances. You've got Christensen's made 20-odd appearances. Silva's made, I think he's like 22, because I think he missed out a bit with injury. There's not one of them has been the rock in their defence this season. So I did want to try and get one of them in there, but there was no point when Mendy really crossed my mind.
No, it did take me by surprise, did that inclusion. But quickly, we'll talk about the EA team of the season. Now, I know most of this is done purely because it makes them a bit of money with people, spending money on Ultimate Team. But I think it is hard to argue with the 15 players that they've picked. Kevin De Bruyne, Mohamed Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Kane, Ederson, Son, Jamie Vardy, Ruben Diaz, Marcus Rashford, Gundogan, Mason Mount, Souček, João Cancelo, Luke Shaw, and Wesley Fofana.
It's nice to see Wesley Fofana and Jamie Vardy in there.
Yeah.
Certainly Fofana is someone who I think will only get better as well. I like him. I know we don't want to harp on this, but I like that Leicester team. They all seem like top blokes.
That entire Leicester side has just... They're kind of like the second team for everyone in the Premier League. When you see Leicester playing someone, you do go, no, go on, Leicester. Until they get to the top of the table, and then you'd be like, no, fuck off.
See, as a team that's not competing to win the Premier League, when they get to the top of the table, I think, yeah, go on.
Hey, we were never competing. We were just there.
Yeah, to be honest, someone said to me the other day, I was like, if Man City lose their last couple of games and Man United win their games in hand, and I just stopped them mid-term, like, yeah, but they're not going to. Like, Man City are going to win those games.
Yeah.
Is this the Man United might turn around this points difference? You know, again, what world are you living in?
Yeah. Even if we'd have beaten both Leicester and Liverpool, did anyone really think that Newcastle were going to pull a surprise victory against Man City and, stop them from winning that league?
I mean, I assume if that, if you win both those games, strangely Scott Carson doesn't start that one.
Yeah, and it's not 4-3, it's like 2-0.
Yeah, because all of a sudden Man City have thought, best take this one seriously.
Yeah. So that'll do us for this episode of Stand Your Ground. It's been quite a long one, but as we said at the start, there is quite a lot to go through. I'm going to play a quick video that's going to show you all the live videos that do go live on The Buzz. Make sure that you check them out, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitter.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by your locksmith. On the block, throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, what's the top dish? Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot, switch.
Yeah, make sure that you check out all those live streams on The Buzz at WTBdotcom on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want more of KC and Jack, who would have been here if it wasn't for some late issues, make sure that you check out at Mighty Whites Pod on Twitter for their Leeds United based podcast. You can get that anywhere that you stream your audio versions of podcasts, everywhere other than Acast. And you can listen to it live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Glad you did that.
Yeah, don't worry. I've memorized it now.
I'm just the face of the podcast. I don't really do anything.
And that's why they don't do a lot of numbers.
Throwing shade.
It's all right, because neither do we.
Yay! Wait, that means it's me.
Yeah, you're the problem. Anyway, yeah, cheers for being on, Casey.
Yeah, no worries. It's been great, mate. Can't wait to do it again.
Make sure you come back next Sunday while we'll be checking out the final games of the Premier League and looking forward to the Europa League and Champions League finals and probably, the European Championships that, 2020, really 2021.
I love this idea of persisting by calling it Euro 2020.
Can't have an odd number.
I just assume it's because all the T-shirts and everything were already printed up. Unless we either send someone with a Sharpie through and just cross out the 0 and put a 1 in, or we've got to make a load of new merchandise. And to be honest, I don't think we're going to do that.
Panini have already done the sticker book. We can't change the name now. And on that note, we'll see you next week, guys. In a bit.